Good morning, students. Let me welcome you all to the second video on solid state chapter. In the first video, we discussed something about the classification of solids, amorphous solids and crystalline solids. In the last video, and I forgot to give some examples for the amorphous solids. Let me have a correction on that first. As far as amorphous solids are concerned, the solids in which there is no definite arrangement of the constituent particles in solid state. That is what we call it as amorphous solids. Examples for the amorphous solids would be, to take plastic, or you can take any polymer for that matter. Plastic, glass is an example for the amorphous solid, or you can say cellulose, is an example for amorphous solid. Rubber is an example for amorphous solid. In addition to these, I'll quote some examples like polyurethane, Teflon, fiberglass, PVC. I also quote all these examples because it may help you to answer one question in the in-text questions from NCERT book. In NCERT book, there is one question. Under that, you are asked to classify the substances into amorphous and crystalline solids. Hagagi, polyurethane, Teflon, fiberglass and PVC, they are all coming under amorphous solids. Or you can say, you can go for even this cellophane. Cellophane is also an example for, yes, it is amorphous solid. And all these compounds are polymers. Synthetic polymers are generally, they are coming under amorphous solids. I'll quote one example, that is amorphous silicon. Amorphous, yes, it is silicon. I quote this example because this amorphous silicon is used in photovoltaic cells. That is used in photovoltaic cells. In photovoltaic cells, light will be converted into electricity. For the conversion of light energy to electrical energy, we make use of amorphous silicon in photovoltaic cells. So these are the things that I wanted to I wanted to tell you under this particular discussion, amorphous solids. Yesterday in the last video, I forgot. Because of that, I am correcting myself here. I am giving examples for the amorphous solids. With that information, we'll continue my discussion now. As far as the first video is concerned, wherein we observed the differences between amorphous solids and crystalline solids. One of the differences that we quoted is anisotropy. One of the differences that we quoted in the previous video is anisotropy. Anisotropy is one of the difference. What we said, crystalline solids are anisotropic. Crystalline solids are anisotropic. Crystalline solids are anisotropic. Whereas amorphous solids are isotropic. What's the meaning of that? As far as isotropy is concerned, iso means same. Isotropic substances are those substances in which physical property values are same in all the three directions. The physical property values of substances will be same in all the, yes, it is three directions, x direction, y direction and z direction. If the physical property values of the solid is same in all three directions, such type of solids are called as, that is, isotropic solids. All amorphous solids are isotropic. All amorphous solids are isotropic because in amorphous solids, physical property values of amorphous solids will be similar in all the three directions. The physical property values like resistance, that is resistance, electrical conductivity, electrical conductivity, thermal conductivity, mechanical strength, or you can say refractive index. If you measure the values of these physical properties in three directions, in the case of amorphous solids, the values will be found to be same in all the three directions. Therefore, amorphous solids are isotropic. Whereas in the case of crystalline solids, where there is a definite arrangement of the constituent particles is found, crystalline solids are anisotropic because the physical property values of the crystalline solids will be different in different directions. The physical property values of crystalline solids will be different in different directions. The reason is, in the case of crystalline solids, there is a orderly arrangement of the constituent particles in solid. Whereas in the case of amorphous solids, no orderly arrangement of the constituent particles is observed. There is no definite ordered arrangement of the constituent particles is observed throughout the solid. Therefore, the overall arrangement of the constituent particles is equivalent in all the directions. ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, amorphous solids ಅಲ್ಲಿ there is no orderly arrangement of the constituent particles in solids, and because of that the overall arrangement of the constituent particles is equivalent in all the directions. Because of that the physical property values are same in all the three directions. But in the case of crystalline solids, the physical property values will be different in different directions due to the orderly arrangement of the constituent particles. I am going to justify that particular aspect by using this particular arrangement. Look here. Here I have one crystal lattice, a simple crystal lattice in two dimensions. Look at the particles here. There is a orderly arrangement of the constituent particles. Look at this. There are pink spheres and yellow spheres. In between two pink sphere you will find yellow sphere. In between two pink sphere you will find yellow sphere. Is it not? Let me consider the particles in this direction, right? Let me consider the particles in this direction. Look at the, or you can say in this direction you will find only pink particles, right? Or only yellow particles, right? Or only pink particles, right? Is it not? But if I consider the particles in this direction, look at the yellow, pink, yellow, pink, yellow, pink, yellow, pink, is it not? In this direction, you will find different types of particles, no? That different types of particles will be closely packed alternatively. But in this direction, you will find only similar kind of particles, right? That means the nature of the particles will be different in different directions. Because of that, the nature of the force of attractions will be different in different directions. And the same thing will be continued throughout the solid. Because of that, the physical property values will be different in different directions. And remember, and you are going to observe, you are going to see one activity, video of one activity in order to explain this particular aspect in the next video, of course, is it not? That will see, you can see there, and clearly you will understand each and every aspect of the anisotropy, is it? Dear students, let me explain anisotropy and isotropy by using this particular activity, right? Here we have one bowl where we have the yellow, green and black spheres just observed there. And in the another box, you will find this arrangement of the particles. Look at that green and orange spheres. Make out the difference there. In one bowl, there is a random distribution of the particle, random arrangement of the particles you will find. There is no orderly arrangement of the particles is observed in this particular box, right? But in this particular box, there is a orderly arrangement of the constituent particles, or you can say there is a definite arrangement involved in the distribution of the particles. One particular pattern is followed here. Look at that. In the first row we have green spheres, right? In the first row we have green spheres followed by orange spheres, green spheres and orange spheres. And one important observation here is look at the orange spheres. they are in between two green spheres, in between two green spheres. Look at the next line, green spheres are in between orange spheres, right? And there is a one systematic arrangement is involved there, is it not? One particular one definite arrangement is there. Look at that, each sphere is surrounded by 6 spheres. ನೋಡಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಆರೆಂಜ್ ಸ್ಪಿಯರ್ ಸೆಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಅದರ ಸುತ್ತಾನು 6 ಸ್ಪಿಯರ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ. ಯಾವುದಾದ್ರು ಗ್ರೀನ್ ಸ್ಪಿಯರ್ ಸೆಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಅದರ ಸುತ್ತಾನು 6 ಸ್ಪಿಯರ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ. ಅಂದರೆ ಒಂದು ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಪ್ಯಾಟರ್ನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಸ್ ಏನಾಗಿದೆ, ಅರೇಂಜ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಹೌದಾ? ನನ್ನ ಇಂಟೆನ್ಷನ್ ಏನಪ್ಪ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇದು, ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಕ್ರಿಸ್ಟಲೈನ್ ಸಾಲಿಡ್ and it will be amorphous solid. ಇದೇನಿದು amorphous solid ಇದು, because no definite pattern is involved in the arrangement of the constituent particles. ಆದರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿ, ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಡೆಫಿನೆಟ್ ಪ್ಯಾಟರ್ನ್ ಇದೆ, ಆ ಪ್ಯಾಟರ್ನ್ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ನಾವು ಇದನ್ನೇನು ತಿಳ್ಕೊಬೋದು ಅಂತಂದರೆ, ಐ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಕಾಲ್ ಇಟ್ ಎಸ್ ಕ್ರಿಸ್ಟಲೈನ್ ಸಾಲಿಡ್. ವಾಟ್ ವಿ ಸೆಡ್, ಕ್ರಿಸ್ಟಲೈನ್ ಸಾಲಿಡ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಅನೈಸೋಟ್ರೋಪಿಕ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ವಿ. ಹೌದಾ? ಲುಕ್ ಎಟ್ ದಿಸ್, ಈ ಒಂದು ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನಲ್ಲಿ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಸನ್ನು ಸೆಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಅನೈಸೋಟ್ರೋಪಿ ಅಂದ್ರೇನು? The property of a crystalline solid where we'll find different physical property values in different directions. ಹೌದಾ? ನಾನು ಈ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನಲ್ಲಿ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಸನ್ನು ಸೆಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ವಿಲ್ ಫೈಂಡ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಗ್ರೀನ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಸ್. ಹೌದಲ್ವೋ? ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದೀಸ್ ಗ್ರೀನ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಹೆಲ್ಡ್ ಟುಗೆದರ್ ಬೈ ಸಡನ್ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಅಟ್ರಾಕ್ಷನ್. ಹೌದಾ? ಇನ್ ದಿಸ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಗ್ರೀನ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಆರೆಂಜ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಗ್ರೀನ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಆರೆಂಜ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಸ್. ಹೌದಾ? ಅದೇ ನಾನು ಈ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನಲ್ಲಿ ಸೆಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ನೋಡಿ, ಈ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಸೆಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಏನು ಸಿಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ನೋಡಿ, that is orange and green. ಹೌದಾ? Then in one direction we have one kind of particles, in the other direction we have different types of particles. As the nature of the particle changes, ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, intermolecular force of attractions change ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ there will be difference in intermolecular force of attractions in different directions. Intermolecular force of attraction in this direction is different from intermolecular force of attraction in this direction. So if the intermolecular force of attractions are different, naturally physical property values are different because they depend on intermolecular force of attraction, and because of that crystalline solids are anisotropic, is it not? Okay, ಈಗ ಬನ್ನಿ, I'll take up this particular example for explaining anisotropy here. This is also crystalline solid, right? Okay na? ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿ, ಈ ಒಂದು crystalline solid ಅಲ್ಲಿ look at that, there is a definite pattern of arrangement of the constituent particles you will find. ಹೌದಾ? ಈಗ ನೋಡಿ, ಒಂದು ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನಲ್ಲಿ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಸೆಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊತೀನಿ, ರೈಟ್? ಈ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನಲ್ಲಿ ವಿಲ್ ಫೈಂಡ್ ಟೂ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಸ್, ರೈಟ್, ಇನ್ ದಿಸ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್. ಹೌದಾ? ಅದೇ ನೋಡಿ, ಈ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿ, ಈ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ? 3 ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ. ನಾನು ಇದನ್ನು ಯಾಕೆ ಸೆಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡೆ ಅಂದರೆ, ಈಗ ಪ್ರೀವಿಯಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ ಅಂದರೆ, ವಿ ಯೂಸ್ಡ್ ಡಿಫ್ರೆಂಟ್ ಟೈಪ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಸ್. ಹೌದಾ? ನೀವು ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು, ಇಫ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಕೇಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಕ್ರಿಸ್ಟಲ್, ಇಫ್ ಆಲ್ ದ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಸೇಮ್, ದೆನ್ ಹೌ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ವಿ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟ್ ದಿ ಅನೈಸೋಟ್ರೋಪಿ ಅಂತ ನೀವು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ನಾನು ಇದನ್ನು ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ತಗೋತೀನಿ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಸು ಸೇಮ್ ಇದೆ. ಹೌದಾ? ಆಲ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಐಡೆಂಟಿಕಲ್, ಬಟ್ in this direction you will find only 2 particles, in this direction you will find only 3 particles. ಅಂದರೆ number of particles in the different directions will be different. ಹೌದಾ? In one direction we find 2 particles, in the other direction we will find 3 particles. Because of that difference, there is a difference in the physical properties, definitely. ಯಾಕಂದರೆ as the number of particles changes, intermolecular force of attraction also changes. ಹೌದಲ್ವಾ? ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ 2 ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ 3 ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ. ಹೌದಾ? ಆಮೇಲೆ ನೋಡಿ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ 2 ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಇದೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿ, ಈಗ ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಹೋಗಿ ಇಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ 2 ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಇದೆ. ಹೌದಾ? ಇಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಏನಿದೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಹೀಗೆ ನೋಡಿ, ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ನೀವು ಇಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಹೋದರೆ ಇಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ 2 ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಇದೆ. ಹೌದಾ? ನಾಳೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿ, ಕಡ್ಡಿ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇರಿ, ಇಲ್ಲೊಂದು ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಇದೆ, ಇಲ್ಲೊಂದು ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಇದೆ. ಡಯಾಗನಲ್ ವೇದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ಇಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ 2 ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಇದೆ, ಇಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ 2 ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಇದೆ. ಆದರೂ ಕೂಡ ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಟೀಸ್ ವ್ಯತ್ಯಾಸ. ಯಾಕೆಂದರೆ interatomic distance is different between these two. Interatomic distance between these two is different compared to these two. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ once again ಏನಾಯ್ತಲ್ಲಿ, there is a difference in interatomic forces, and thereby there is a difference in physical property values, and that is what we call it as the difference in physical properties in different directions, and that is it not. So ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ crystalline solids are anisotropic, amorphous solids are isotropic. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತು ಅನ್ಕೋತೀನಿ, ರೈಟ್? Why crystalline solids are anisotropic ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಹೇಳಬೇಕು? In the case of crystalline solids, the physical property values are different in different directions, whereas in the case of amorphous solids, physical property values are same in all the directions. ಈ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಅನ್ನು ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಸಾಕು, that will see. So that is what we call it as anisotropy and isotropy. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತು ಅನ್ಕೋತೀನಿ. So we'll come to the next topic. With this information, I'll come to, I'm going to introduce one more topic, that is polycrystalline solids. Let me introduce polycrystalline solids. You know amorphous solids and crystalline solids. In addition to these two, we come across polycrystalline solids. As far as polycrystalline solids are concerned, they appear as amorphous solids. They appear as amorphous solids. The solids which appear as amorphous solids, but containing large number of microcrystalline structures. Containing large number of microcrystalline structures. The crystal structures found only in microscope. Notice, polycrystalline solids are those solids which appear as amorphous solids but containing large number of microcrystalline structures. And this type of polycrystalline solids, will be coming under metals. All metals are coming under polycrystalline solids. Because if I take a sample of metal, this sample of metal, it appears as amorphous. But if I take individual crystal of the metal, individual crystal structure of this metal, it is what we call it as crystalline. It is crystalline, and of course this is isotropic. Amorphous will be isotropic, whereas crystalline will be anisotropic. Is it not? Anisotropic, right? ನೋಡಿ, polycrystalline solids ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಪ್ಪಾ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಅವುಗಳು amorphous solids ತರನೇ ಇರ್ತದೆ. ಆದರೆ ಅವುಗಳಲ್ಲಿ you will find large number of microcrystalline structures. Microcrystalline structures ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಕಣ್ಣಿಗೆ ಕಾಣೋದಿಲ್ಲ ಅವು, and they can be found only in the microscopes. That is microcrystalline solids, microcrystalline structures. They appear as amorphous solids but containing large number of microcrystalline structures. Such type of solids are called as polycrystalline solids. And because of that, a sample of metal appears as amorphous, but it contains amorphous, and of course it is isotropic, but contains large number of individual crystals. They are acting like anisotropic in nature. Sample of metal is isotropic in nature, is it not? So this is what we call it as polycrystalline solids. Right? Okay. So with that information, we'll go for next discussion under the solid state. That is classification of crystalline solids. Classification of crystalline solids. This is the next discussion. We discussed amorphous solids and crystalline solids now. The next topic is now the intention of this chapter, that is study of crystalline solids, study of structural arrangements of the crystalline, right? Classification of crystalline solids. The classification of crystalline solids is based on the type of constituent particles. And type of constituent particles and nature of force of attractions. Operating among the constituent particles. The classification of crystalline solids is based on type of constituent particles and of course nature of force of attractions are operating among the constituent particles. Depending upon the nature of the particles, we have different types of force of attractions. Accordingly, we have 4 types of crystalline solids. One, it will be molecular solids. Second, it will be ionic solids. Third, it will be covalent or network solids. Covalent or network solids. And fourth, it will be metallic solids or metallic crystals. These are the four types of solids that we come across. The classification of crystalline solids depending upon the type of constituent particles and the nature of the force of attractions operating among the constituent particles. Okay, now I am going to discuss this molecular solids first. I am going to discuss that molecular solids one by one, right? We'll see that. This is classification of crystalline solids. We'll go for the molecular crystals now. We'll go for the molecular crystals. Molecular crystals. Just have important aspects here. One important aspect of the molecular crystals is, in the case of molecular crystals, molecules are the constituent particles. Molecules are constituent particles. The crystalline solids in which constituent particles are molecules. And of course, as far as the type of force of attractions are concerned, in the case of molecular crystals, you'll find van der Waals force of attractions, dipole force of attractions, dipole attractions, right? The third one is hydrogen bonding. These are the three types of force of attractions operating among molecular crystals. The crystalline solids in which constituent particles are, the crystalline solids in which molecules are the constituent particles, and which will be held together by weak intermolecular force of attraction. All these force of attractions are weak intermolecular force of attractions. Such type of crystalline solids are called as molecular solids. The crystalline solids containing molecules as constituent particles held together by weak attractive forces, and they are called as molecular crystals. The weak attractive forces will be generally van der Waals force of attractions, dipole-dipole attractions, and hydrogen bonding. As usual, molecules will be held together by these forces. Of course, they are the weak forces, as you studied in first PUC under states of matter. Now we'll see, depending upon the type of the molecular force of attraction, depending upon the type of force of attraction operating, molecular crystals are further classified into non-polar molecular crystals, and it is polar molecular crystals, then it is hydrogen bonded molecular crystals. ಈ molecular crystals ಅನ್ನು ಮತ್ತೆ ನಾನು ಕ್ಲಾಸಿಫೈ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ, because among the molecular crystals, we have different types of molecular attractions. Depending upon the type of molecular attractions, if the molecular crystal is characterized by van der Waals force of attractions, that molecular crystal is non-polar molecular crystal. If the molecular crystal is characterized by dipole-dipole attractions, that will be called as, that is polar molecular crystal. And if the molecular crystal is characterized by hydrogen bonding, it will be called as hydrogen bonded molecular crystal. So these are the three types of molecular crystals. Now we'll see one by one with certain examples, right? First of all, we'll see non-polar molecular crystals. Right? Now we'll go for the non-polar molecular crystals first. First it is non-polar molecular crystals. In the case of non-polar molecular crystals, the constituent particles are non-polar molecules. The constituent particles are non-polar molecules. That is, these crystals are characterized by non-polar molecules. These non-polar molecules will be held together by weak van der Waals force of attraction. They are held together by weak van der Waals force of attraction. And weak van der Waals force of attractions will be in terms of London forces. You know, London forces will be operating among non-polar molecules. Examples for this is solid argon, solid iodine, solid CCl4, solid CO2, right? Solid argon, solid iodine, solid CCl4, solid carbon dioxide. These are all the examples for non-polar molecular crystals. ನೆನ್ಪಿಟ್ಕೋಬೇಕು ದಿ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಯೆಂಟ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯೂಲ್ಸ್. ಈಗ ನೋಡಿ ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ಈ ತರ ಒಂದು ಕ್ರಿಸ್ಟಲ್ ನಾನ್ ಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಕ್ರಿಸ್ಟಲ್ ಇದೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ತರ ಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಕ್ರಿಸ್ಟಲ್ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಇದು ಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಕ್ರಿಸ್ಟಲ್ ಅಂತ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ರೈಟ್? ಇಫ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ನಾನ್ ಪೋಲಾರ್, ಇಫ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಕ್ರಿಸ್ಟಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಅಯೋಡಿನ್ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ this position, this particle is I2, this particle is I2, this particle is I2, this particle is I2, like that, you know. I2 molecules will be occupying the lattice points. That is, lattice points are occupied by I2 molecules. These are I2 molecules ಇದೆ. ನಾನು ಯಾಕೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ you should know that in between two molecules of iodine there are weak van der Waals force of attractions. There are weak van der Waals force of attraction. You should not be in the concept, idea that, you know, here we have one iodine, here it is another iodine. ಆತರ ಅನ್ಕೋಬಹುದು. ಇದ್ರ ಮಧ್ಯೆ iodine ಕೋವಲೆಂಟ್ ಬಾಂಡ್ ಇದೆ. ಈ ತರ ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ಲ್ಯಾಟಿಸ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ iodine I2 ಇರ್ತದೆ, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಲ್ಯಾಟಿಸ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ I2 ಇರ್ತದೆ. ಅವುಗಳ ಮಧ್ಯೆ weak van der Waals force of attraction ಇರ್ತದೆ. Such type of crystals are called as molecular crystals. That is, the lattice points are occupied by molecules. Lattice points andre the locations in crystal lattice. These locations are occupied by molecules. That is what we call it as molecular crystals, right? Non-polar molecules are present. The constituent particles are non-polar molecules, and they are held together by weak van der Waals force of attraction, centrally London forces. That is, example is solid argon, solid iodine, solid CCl4, solid CO2. And remember, argon is non-polar, iodine is non-polar, CCl4 is also non-polar, and because of symmetrical structure of CCl4, this is symmetrical structure of CCl4 irodrinda CCl4 is also non-polar. In the case of carbon dioxide, we have a symmetrical linear geometry, right? Symmetrical linear geometry. Dipole moment due to this is cancelled by dipole moment due to this. They are equal in opposite direction. Avtane dipole moments are equal and opposite direction. Therefore, the net dipole moment is 0. Therefore, it is non-polar molecule. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಸರ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಪೋಲಾರ್ ಬಾಂಡ್ ಇದೆ, ಯಾಕೆ ಇದನ್ನ ನಾನ್ ಪೋಲಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಕೊಡ್ತೀರಿ ಅಂತ ನೀವು ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಇಸ್ ದಿಸ್, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಟೂ ಪೋಲಾರ್ ಬಾಂಡ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ದೇರ್ and dipoles are operating in opposite direction. They are equal and opposite. Therefore, the net dipole moment of this molecule is 0. Therefore, it is non-polar molecule. That's why these are the examples for non-polar molecular crystals. Now, at this moment, we'll go to the one more type of molecular crystals, that is polar molecular crystals. We'll see that. Polar molecular crystals. ಈಗ ನಾನು polar molecular crystals ಗೆ ಬರ್ತೀನಿ ಈಗ. In the case of polar molecular crystals, you know, the constituent particles are polar molecules. The constituent particles are polar molecules, and they are held together by the strong dipole-dipole attractions. They are held together by strong dipole-dipole attractions. Observe there. Dipole-dipole attractions will be found in the case of polar molecules. Example for that, we have solid HCl. You know that HCl is a polar molecule because here it is HCl, this is delta minus and this is delta plus, because chlorine is more electronegative than hydrogen. Because of that, you know, there is a pole, this is a polar molecule, and this negative pole of this will be attracted by positive pole of another molecule like this. Okay, na? And because of that, you know, dipole-dipole attractions you will find, or you can say that solid CO2, SO2 there. Solid SO2 is also an example for, yes, it is a polar molecular crystal where constituent particles are polar molecules. Or lattice points are occupied by polar molecules. ನನಗೆ ಒಬ್ಬರು ಕೆಲವು ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು, CO2 ಅನ್ನ ಪೋಲಾರ್ ನಾನ್ ಪೋಲಾರ್ ಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಕ್ರಿಸ್ಟಲ್ ಗೆ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಕೊಡ್ತೀರಾ? SO2 ಅನ್ನ ಪೋಲಾರ್ ಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಕ್ರಿಸ್ಟಲ್ ಗೆ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಕೊಡ್ತೀರಾ? ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ this as far as structure of SO2 is concerned, this is unsymmetrical. ನೋಡಿ ಇಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ SO2 ಇದೆ, ಆದರೆ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ is unsymmetrical molecule. The bond moment will be like this, the bond moment will be like this, net dipole moment will be like this. Therefore it is characterized by net dipole moment. Therefore it is polar molecule. This is polar molecule. CO2 is non-polar molecule. ಹೌದಾ? ಹಾಗಾಗಿ SO2 is coming under polar molecular crystal and CO2 is coming under non-polar. Yes, it is molecular crystal. ಆಗ್ಬೋದಾ? Yes, it is. Dipole attractions are stronger than van der Waals force of attraction. Therefore, melting points of molecular crystals, melting points of polar molecular crystals will be greater than the melting points of non-polar molecular crystals. Okay, na? So this is what we call it as polar molecular crystals, right? Now at this moment, we'll look over to the next that is type of molecular crystal, that is hydrogen bonded molecular crystal. That is hydrogen bonded molecular crystal, right? Now, hydrogen bonded molecular crystal, right? Hydrogen bonded molecular crystal, right? Hydrogen bonding, a type of force of attraction that we observe in the case of chemical substances. As far as hydrogen bonding is concerned, any molecule containing NH bond, HF bond, or that OH bond, and that will undergo hydrogen bonding. In all these cases you will find hydrogen atom will be attached to the highly electronegative elements which are very small in size. If any molecule is characterized by such type of bonds, that molecule undergoes hydrogen bonding. The hydrogen atom is directly attached to the highly electronegative element, but it is small in size. Therefore, ammonia that contains NH bond undergoes hydrogen bonding. That hydrogen fluoride that contains HF bond undergoes hydrogen bonding. Water contains OH bond that undergoes hydrogen bonding. And if I take example, that is solid ammonia, that is an example for the hydrogen bonded molecular crystal. Solid hydrogen fluoride is an example for the hydrogen bonded molecular crystal. Solid water, that is ice, is an example for, yes, it is ice. ನೋಡಿ ಸಾಲಿಡ್ ಎಷ್ಟು ಅಂತ ಬರೆಯೋಕೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಆಮೇಲೆ ಸಾಲಿಡ್ ವಾಟರ್ ಅಂತ ಬರೆದಿದ್ದೀರಿ, ಐಸ್ ಅಂತ ಬರೀರಿ, then we mean it as solid. Yes, it is H2 ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ these are all the examples for hydrogen bonded molecular crystals. ನಾನು ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ಸ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟನಲ್ಲ, ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ಸ್ ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ನಾನು ವರ್ಡ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೆ ಸಾಲಿಡ್ H2, ಸಾಲಿಡ್ I2, ಸಾಲಿಡ್ CCl4 ಅಂತೇಳಿ. ಯಾಕೆಂದ್ರೆ all these substances are in different state at given temperature, room temperature. ಹೌದಾ? ಹೈಡ್ರೋಜನ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಗ್ಯಾಸ್ ಅಟ್ ರೂಮ್ ಟೆಂಪರೇಚರ್. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ನೀವು ಹೈಡ್ರೋಜನ್ ಅಂತ ಬರೆದ್ರೆ ಅದು ನಾವು ಗ್ಯಾಸ್ ಅಂತ ತಿಳ್ಕೋಬೇಕಾ, ಲಿಕ್ವಿಡ್ ಅಂತ ತಿಳ್ಕೋಬೇಕಾ, ಸಾಲಿಡ್ ಅಂತ ತಿಳ್ಕೋಬೇಕಾ? ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ whenever you are giving examples for the molecular crystals, you must write that word solid ammonia, solid hydrogen fluoride, solid water ante, ice anteli, solid H2 anteli, ಅಥವಾ solid H2, solid I2, okay na? Solid CO2, CO2 is a gas, but you must write CO2 is not an example for the non-polar molecular crystal. Solid CO2, that is dry ice anta ಏನು ಕರಿತೀವಲ್ಲ, that is dry ice, that is solid CO2 is an example for, yes, it is non-polar molecular crystal. ಆಗ್ಬೋದಾ? So this is what we call it as hydrogen bonded molecular crystals, right? So this is what we call classification of molecular crystals. Okay, now at this moment, as far as the molecular crystals are concerned, they are very, very soft because of weak intermolecular force of attraction, characterized by low to high melting points. Low to high melting point ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ polar molecular crystals are characterized by high melting point, non-polar molecular crystals are characterized by low melting point. ಹೌದಾ? ಹಾಗಾಗಿ melting point will be ranging from low to high. They are characterized by low enthalpy of vaporization. ಅಂದ್ರೆ they need very less amount of energy for vaporization purpose. Low enthalpy of vaporization. Their densities are relatively less because of weak intermolecular force of attractions. And of course, they are very, very soft, and of course, they are bad conductors of electricity. And that's all about the molecular crystals and types of molecular crystals. In this video, we'll stop here now. In the next video, we'll take up remaining aspects of the classification of molecular crystals. Thank you.